members of PMuse 3100 E01. Had to get that out. Here's some tips on the quiz for chapter number 2. So I thought this might help you get ready for the quiz this Thursday. Okay, here we go. Anacreon, who was he? Where was he from? What did the Anacreontic Society members want from him? Okay, so this is part of the intrigue of where the Star-Spangled Banner came from and the type of song that this is, the Anacreontic song. Not a drinking song, but it's a song from a group, a club in London, making an appeal to a poet that had been deceased for hundreds of years. This is an important point. This club, this society valued music above all else. And I know when you read things in Clegg's book, and especially when you read things outside of the book, there is that story about it being a drinking song, but it really isn't. So these folks really wanted quality music. They hired professional musicians, and they were amateur musicians themselves, most of whom were aspiring to become better singers and have a better understanding of music. And that leads us to the reason that this song is so difficult to sing. It was written for professional singers, and it's because this club had very high standards, and they wanted to challenge the singers. And so the composer, John Stafford Smith, wrote the range from the bottom note to the high note at a very wide spectrum there that's challenging to most people. I know I've got a doctorate in music, but not in singing, and I can't sing the Star-Spangled Banner well. So take a look at that and think about that a little bit. This to me is very interesting, and that is that the main means of communication at this time in the late 18th century was the newspapers. Okay, movable type had come into its own. Gutenberg invented the modern printing press, and they were able to print newspapers at a pretty low price and distribute those, and that's really how songs were transmitted. It also gave people insights into the Anacreontic society. Okay, so the fact that newspapers paid a reporter who was also a critic to go and report on what went on at the meetings, but also the quality of the performers and the performances. So that's important. John Stafford Smith escaped identity for a long time as the composer of the Anacreontic song, and it would be good for you to be able to recollect, when was he discovered as the composer. This was written in the late 18th century, in the 1770s. And how was he discovered? The technical musical term for the type of song that the Anacreontic song is would be good to know. Okay, there's a repetition involved in that, and there's a term for that, for the setting. So take a look at that in the chapter. And knowing the club's rule about politics, I think that's very interesting too, in that politics was swirling around in London where the Anacreontic Society was hatched, and that they were very attuned to that. And already at that time, the monarchy was grating on many people. And when the Anacreontic Society, when it came to the United States, you would have thought that the separation from the king and the monarchy from England, that might be the subject of this club's activities, but it wasn't. Okay, so read about that and why it wasn't. I hope these tips help you for Thursday. I was talking to another student today, and the professors do not benefit from people not doing well in the class, okay? So please arrange a Zoom with me. I'd be glad to talk to you individually or as a group, but I wanted to give you a little help on chapter number 2 here. Okay? All best.